Hey everyone, before getting into the meat of this video, I just wanted to say thank you for all the positive feedback and comments I got on my first two videos. I am new to this, so thank you very much. In the comment sections of my last two videos, I got a lot of requests on tutorials on how to do ricochet 20s, and I think this is a really important skill in Crokinole, but I wanted to put that aside for one video because I want to teach the concept of board control first, because I think the way that you approach ricochet 20s is very much tied into this idea of board control. So in this video, I'm going to talk about why you want to keep the play on your side of the board. So let's start this video off with an example. Okay, so let's say that my opponent is up a 20 and they've left their disc on my side of the board in between these two pegs. I want you to pause the video and think about how you would approach this shot if you were me. So some of you might think the best way to go about this is to go for some sort of follow-through shot or play for the center in some sort of way. But I think the best strategy is to try and pull the play back towards me. Okay, so let me show you how I'd take this shot. So although I'm down a 20, this leaves my opponent with very few options for the rest of the round. Okay, so my opponent can either do one of two things. They can either shoot for my disc and clear the board so they can hit this disc off and hope that they also get their disc off, and then the board is empty and I get a chance at an open 20, which is pretty good for me. Or they can try and shoot across the board for the rest of the round and maintain their 20 advantage. Okay, so they can just go for shots like this, where they come across the board, they knock this off, and they leave their disc somewhere on my side of the board. So this is actually really good for me for a couple of reasons. So first off, when discs are on my side of the board, it's very hard for me to make a mistake. So if a disc is 4 inches in front of me like it is here, it's very unlikely that I'm going to miss that shot. Secondly, you can actually use this position to your advantage to force mistakes out of your opponent. Okay, so you can actually get your opponent to miss completely if you play it right. So firstly, there's a couple of spots on the board that you can leave your disc that make it very difficult for your opponent to get. So let me show you one of them. So leaving my disc here is really tough for my opponent to get. So there's a pretty good chance, unless my opponent is an advanced player, there's a pretty good chance that they're going to miss completely. In other words, they're going to hit this peg and then their disc will go flying, or they'll just whiff and they'll just whiff completely. Sometimes they'll catch the edge of the disc and then they'll knock both discs off, which is totally fine because I get a chance at an open 20. And there are a couple of ways that you can force mistakes out of your opponent. So there's a few spots on the board. So particularly the two main ones are going to be this spot right here. So it's about, ideally you have it right in the center, completely across the board from your opponent, just because when they shoot, they have to go over the hole, and that's a notoriously very difficult shot in Crokinole. The other two are just behind these two pegs here. So the closer you get to the peg, the better and the harder it is for your opponent to remove it safely. One thing I want to emphasize about playing on your side of the board is that depending on the state of the game, I can opt to bring play wherever I want. So if I want to hide on this, on my opponent, I can. If I want to play for the 15 or the 20, I can. Okay, so when play is on your side of the board, you have a lot more choices than if you're shooting across the board. Okay, so one drill that you can do at home in order to improve your ability to maintain or gain board control is to place an opposing disc somewhere within the 15 circle and try and remove your opponent's disc while leaving your disc in the best position possible. So let's consider this example here. Okay, a pretty good shot would be me just taking it out and leaving my disc right there. I want to make sure that I'm not drifting that way, because if I drift that way, I give my opponent board control. I don't necessarily want to go towards the 22 because I could set my opponent up. So this is a pretty good shot. But there's actually, if you're really ambitious like me, there's a little bit of an improvement that you can make to this shot. So remember that we want to bring a play to our side of the board. So I'm going to play the shot this way. Now I've successfully removed my opponent's disc while bringing the play back to my side of the board. So the thing that I want to emphasize in this video is that regardless of how easy a shot might look or how simple a shot might look, there's usually a little bit more that you can do with it. And I want you to always keep this board control idea in mind when you're taking even what looks to be a routine shot. Okay, that's it for this video. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you want to see more, and leave a comment below. My next video will probably be about ricochet 20s. Okay, so happy holidays, everyone.